Hey, I'm John Cannell, and today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making a delicious Victoria sponge cake. So let's get started. First off, set that oven to 350, and we're gonna butter 2 8-inch pans with a parchment round on the bottom. Now I'm adding 2 cups or 240 grams of self-rising flour into a bowl, and I have a sifter attached. Self-rising flour, which is great for making cakes and biscuits, the American style biscuits, has baking powder and salt already in the mix. Today I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder and an additional 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If you're making this recipe with all-purpose flour, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Give this a sift. This is a delightful cake, and it's wonderful with a cup of tea in the afternoon or really any time of day. It's named after Queen Victoria, who fell in love with it so hard that they named the cake after her. That's the power of being Queen Victoria. Give it a whisk. Set this aside. Now we're gonna add 1 cup or 226 grams of room temperature unsalted butter right into your mixer. I need to show you the butter though. Take a look at how soft this is. I can press with a little bit of force and I'm leaving a nice indent in the butter. It is floppy room temperature butter. See that, how it bends? Even though we're using baking powder in this, the butter is gonna whip up with the sugar and have millions of little air bubbles, and those air bubbles are gonna expand in the oven and give us a fluffy, melt in your mouth crumb for the cake. If your butter isn't properly whipped up, your cake can be a bit dense and slightly disappointing. So, warm it up. I'm gonna cream the butter first. Creaming the butter just means you're gonna mix it on medium speed for a minute or less until it's nice and smooth. It's a creamy consistency. Brian was reading one of my recipes and he's like, what does creaming even mean? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, you're creaming the butter. It's like Moira saying, fold the cheese. If you know, you know. All right, now I want 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons granulated sugar. That's 225 grams. I'm actually going to use my spatula and just scrape the bowl down right now before I even start mixing. And if you're using a hand mixer, you're not gonna have this issue. Now I'm gonna mix this on medium-high for about 3 minutes until it's light and fluffy. After about a minute and a half, we're going to scrape this down and just make sure everything is getting whipped equally. And right now, if you wanna take a look, this is the consistency. So it's getting fluffier and nice, but this color is a little dark. You're gonna see it brighten up a bit. Egg is next. A few minutes later, I want to show you the difference. Here, come take a look. This is a light, fluffy cloud of butter and sugar. You can see the color it was earlier here. And if you want to compare it to the butter originally, you can see it's much lighter and brighter. Now that we have our fluffy cloud of butter and sugar, I'm ready to add 4 room temperature eggs in one at a time. I'm going to be good today and crack them into a bowl so I know there's no shells. Occasionally, a little fragment will come on out. Not today, egg. Not today. That is why we do a separate bowl, because even when you think you did a perfect job, you can see that there are little tiny things that can slip by you. Now we're gonna add our 4 eggs in one at a time, and I'm really gonna scrape the bowl down in between additions, like every 2 eggs, because this needs to be a beautiful, uniform consistency, and the eggs just do not mix in well. They'll be like soupy on the top, butter on the bottom. Like, this is a joke, look. Droopy, bloopy nonsense. So scrape it down. This cake, by the way, is just so lovely. You have like a perfect vanilla cake that melts in your mouth, a little bit of strawberry jam, whipped cream, dusted with powdered sugar. It's a treat that you can enjoy and you feel great after. You don't have to feel weighed down or anything. It's a lovely combination. It doesn't even need frosting. It's perfect the way it is. One more scrape. You'll see the mixture looks kind of broken now. That's just the way it is. We added a lot of liquid in here and there's like a matrix of butter and egg that are not quite cohesive yet. Mix it up. Now I'm adding in about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. There we go. Along with 1 tablespoon of whole milk. Now, with the mixer on low, I'm gonna add in my flour mixture gradually, starting off with like half a cup or so. I'm gonna mix until almost combined and finish it off by hand. Lots of flour streaking throughout, as well as unmixed nonsense here and there. That's what my spatula is for. Just fold it together, work from the bottom. Beautiful, there we go. Your batter should look like this. It's thick, but it doesn't have any streaky bits. It's just beautiful and fluffy. Distribute the batter evenly between your two pans. For these tall, proud cake layers, I wanna have every little bit of batter in the pan. Smooth your layers out so they're nice and even and go all the way to the pan's edge. Cakes will do a lot of self-leveling in the oven, but you want them to have a head start for the perfect even bake. My layers are ready to go into the oven 350 for 25 to 30 minutes or until the centers are springy to the touch and the edges are just pulling away from the pan. Do not use cake strips on this recipe. These guys need to rise freely. In you go. In some ways, this cake is a celebration of science. In 1843, the Alfred Bird Food Company, like Bird's Custard, invented baking powder, so now you could have leavened cakes. Before they were a bit denser, unless you really fluffed the egg whites up, which is difficult. This Victoria sponge had baking powder incorporated, and it became kind of a patriotic celebration. So Queen Victoria and baking powder coming together to make a delicious cake. And originally, it would just be jam in between. The addition of the chantilly cream or whipped cream is a modern flourish. My cake is cooling, it looks fluffy and amazing, and now it's time for the filling. Strawberry jam is a must. Whipped cream is, in my opinion, a must, but it's kind of optional. Adding in half of a cup, which for me is 3/4 of a cup because I love whipped cream, along with 1 tablespoon of powdered sugar. You don't need to add too much of a sweetener because we have the strawberry jam, which is sweet, and the cake, which is sweet. This is a refreshing, creamy break from the two. I'm gonna mix this on medium and then increase to high slowly. I'm also adding in half a teaspoon of vanilla, just a little blessing to help it along. We're gonna mix this up until we have nice, soft peaks. I might finish it off by hand just to make sure it doesn't curdle. And I'm sorry you can't see inside, but when you're making whipped cream, it's best to have cold cream, a cold bowl, and a cold whisk. It really helps everything mix perfectly. Okay, this is soft as soft could be. Just gonna mix it up by hand. And just like that, I have a stiffer peak. Grab your cake stand, 1/3 of a cup of strawberry jam, and let's get to assembling. Now it's time to take 1/3 of a cup of strawberry jam. We're just gonna spread this over the top, and I say 1/3 of a cup, but really, the proportions are kind of up to you. This is your cake. All we need is to have a little bit of jam peeking out at the edge because that's the best part. That's what you can see. This cake is like the perfect snacking cake. I have to tell you, Queen Victoria was onto something because it's so easy to transport. You can take a slice. Of course you wouldn't eat with your hands, but if you wanted to, you could eat this with your hands. There's no frosting on the outside. Now we're gonna add our whipped cream. I went just a little crazy and added an extra 1/4 cup because, I don't know, it's like my favorite thing in the world, and more is more. Spread that out into a nice even layer. Don't let it go too far all the way to the edge because the cake will smush some out once you add your second layer on top. The final touch is a scant dusting of powdered sugar. It really finishes the whole thing off. With a cup of tea, of course. A fluffy, melt-in-your-mouth vanilla cake with whipped cream and strawberries is basically a dream come true. I hope you get a chance to make this recipe, and if you like this video, check out my English dessert playlist.